This is Court Radio. And now here's your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome to Court Radio. I'm Dean Weitzman, and this is your hour to ask whatever legal question you may have. All you got to do is give me a call at 215-227-2727. That's it. Just give us a call. We'll get you queued up and get your question answered. Today is Sunday, the 17th of July. Looks like it's going to be a pretty nice day out there, folks. They're starting right now the Tour de Shore. There's a couple thousand bicyclists, maybe more, on their way from 20th and Walnut down to the Jersey Shore. And so the Ben Franklin Bridge is going to be closed for the next hour and a half or two. If you're going over to New Jersey or coming into Philly, you have to find an alternate route, either the Walt Whitman, Tacony, Palmyra, etc. If you've got legal questions, give us a call. Court Radio is here to serve you from 7 to 8 a.m. every Sunday morning. All you got to do is give us a call at 215-227-2727. Let's talk about what's going on in the news. First of all, My Philly Lawyer was in the news this week as we represent Markayla Jackson, a young lady who at the tender age of 17 lost her life one day before her graduation from high school as a pedestrian crossing Adams Avenue at the Roosevelt Boulevard. And My Philly Lawyer took the case because we believe that intersection is extraordinarily unsafe, and it should be made safer by the city of Philadelphia, and it should have been made safer already. Pedestrians walk on a green traffic signal while automobile traffic, also has a green traffic signal, allowing the automobile traffic to make a right turn from the northbound Roosevelt Boulevard onto the eastbound Adams Avenue. And in doing so, pedestrians in that very long crosswalk on Adams Avenue are exposed to right-hand turning traffic, and that traffic is turning at a high rate of speed. Roosevelt Boulevard's speed limit is 45, but people frequently go faster than that, and it's a gentle right turn that can be taken at high speeds. And it is a prescription for disaster. Markayla Jackson lost her life because of that intersection, and we don't want to see anybody else hurt there. The city needs to do something to make that intersection safer. For instance, simply giving pedestrians the right-of-way for a period of time while traffic has a red light and a no turn on right sign. Simple adjustment to the intersection can make it far safer for pedestrians to cross what is a very long and awkward intersection. 215-227-2727. If you've got legal questions or issues, today's the day. Now's the time. Give us a call. Let's talk to Louise from South Philly. Good morning, Louise, and welcome to Court Radio.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. And thanks for listening, and thanks for calling in today.
I was calling because I used to work for a company, and I was falsely accused for sexual harassment. Nothing like touching someone, but it was more like accusations and situations. And I ended up resigning from my job. It happened at least about 4 or 5 months ago.
Okay.
I wanted to know, what can I do to have my name, well, even though I resigned, but to have my name cleared, because situations like that, aren't you looked at as almost like someone that like a pedophile, or no, not a pedophile, that's for children. It's just your name is scandalized, well, your character.
Yes, absolutely. Unfortunately, you resigned, giving it almost kind of tacit approval of the accusations. I know sometimes people resign for other reasons, but there was an accusation, and as a result of that accusation, you resigned. You're no longer an employee of the company. There's very little that you can do at this point that wouldn't just continue to exacerbate that issue. I mean, could you sue the company? What would be the cause of action? You resigned, and you weren't fired. So I don't think. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. The reason why I resigned because they were going to terminate me, and that would have been on my record.
Okay, and so that, as I said, there's lots of reasons people resign, but in fact, you did resign, and so at this point, to claim that you were falsely accused, I don't see the venue or the forum for that to happen. What kind of company is this?
Well, I don't want to repeat it because maybe somebody might be listening to on the radio.
Right.
But
okay.
It is,
so listen,
well-known company in the area.
If you don't want to repeat it because somebody might kind of put two and two together, and I don't blame you for that, but then filing a lawsuit, making it public, that's certainly not going to be the answer for you. And so I say they did you a favor, I suppose, for allowing it to go by way of a resignation. They cannot reveal to new employers the kind of the background of why you're separated from that company. So if they did, that would be a violation of your privacy rights, and you would have a claim at that point. So I think it's just going to stay in the past, and at this point, it's an unfounded accusation because there never was a full hearing, and you didn't have an opportunity to present witnesses. And so I would say it's at best an unfounded accusation, and you chose not to fight that fight and move on, and so be that. And I don't think it comes back to haunt you at this point. If it does, then you clearly would have a cause of action against your prior employer.
But if I chose to, if I want to have my name cleared as someone that was a sexual, if I didn't do this, and I have proof that I didn't, and witnesses of a conversation or whatever, then I can go after the person, not the company.
You might if there was if they published some false accusation against you, that would be slander.
Okay, and if a word of mouth went around of me being.
Well, it gets from an evidentiary standpoint, it becomes very difficult to kind of figure out who said what to whom if it was never written and only was kind of gossip. But no, it's still possible for you to prove that. And if somebody was gossiping about you in a malicious fashion, and it wasn't true, and you can prove that it harmed your reputation, then I think you would have.
Right?
Yes, I think you would have a cause of action against them.
Okay,
but before you do that, I think that you need to let them know, that person, that they have slandered you, and ask them to retract their statement.
Okay.
All right. Okay. Have a great day, Louise. Thanks for calling Court Radio.
Come in your office, Dean, is it possible I could come in and speak to you directly? You can always come in and see one of my attorneys or me. There's obviously, if you come into the office, there's a consultation fee for that. You can speak with the office manager about that, and we'll set you up. Sounds good. All right, Louise. Take care. Bye now. Thank you. 215-227-2727. Let's talk about some other things going on in the news besides My Philly Lawyer. They had a coup in Turkey. A coup. I was shocked to hear this, or an attempted coup. The military was rumbling through the streets of Turkey with tanks and heavy artillery weapons. A lot of people lost their lives in this failed coup attempt. And the democratically elected government is blaming a religious cleric who is living in the Poconos. That's what I heard. In the Poconos. And they want him extradited.
and they want to bring him back to Turkey to stand trial for what they believe was inciting this coup to have occurred. Turkey is a full member of the NATO alliance, and they've been an ally of the United States forever. It's not a country that we want to see slide into the abyss of religious fanaticism. That's I don't know. Maybe this is just my opinion, but it's never a good thing to mix religion with government. And I know it happens in other countries all the time, but it's why I'm always on guard here in the United States. I like all religions. I believe fully and fervently in the freedom of religion, what our country was founded on. But I don't believe that we should, in any way, shape, or form, impose our religious beliefs by enacting laws, civil laws in the United States, which puts forth one group's religious beliefs over another. Whether that group's the majority, minority, I don't care. I don't want religion in the civil discourse of the United States. Civil laws should remain civil and not based upon religious beliefs. And when you start mixing religious beliefs with civil laws, nothing but trouble ensues, because you're never going to make everybody happy. In fact, you're probably not going to make most people happy. And that's really not what we're about here in the United States. The whole reason the United States was formed was to have a place where people could practice the religion of their choice. To practice the religion of your choice means not to have laws enacted which are based upon the religious beliefs of others. 215-227-2727. Keep religion out of government. That's what Dean Weitzman says. And I'm not saying that about any one particular religion. Don't get it twisted. I have no problem with people practicing their religious beliefs in the privacy of their home, in their mosque, in their temple, in their church. I don't care where you do it, just not in the halls of government. That's where I draw the line. 215-227-2727. If you've got an opinion on the religious intertwining of government and religion, now's the time to give me your opinion and give me a call. If you think I'm wrong, tell me. I'm listening. 215-227-2727. We got callers calling in, and I'm going to talk to some of them now. Let's talk to Charles from North Philly on line 2. Eric. Charles?
Hi, Dean. Good morning.
Good morning to you. What's happening?
Dean, a quick question. I want to ask you this, and I want to hang up so I can hear your response. I had an employee that was standing at the bus stop, and he was witnessing a search by the police, and he was filming it with his phone. He said they came over and took his phone, and he wouldn't give them the passcode so they could delete the pictures, and they kept his phone. I don't know if I gave him the right advice, and I was wondering, was that legal? Could they do that? And what should he have done? Okay. I'm going to hang up so I can hear your response.
All right, Charles. Thank you so much. This kind of falls into that area that I talked about last week, and that is there's a time and a place for the to stand your ground and to put forth your constitutional and civil rights. And it's not necessarily at the heat of the moment on the corner with the police. I don't think your employee did anything wrong. He has, I think, a right to record anything he wants that's public. Okay? This is not some private interchange. It happened on the city street, and therefore he has a right, absolutely, to have taped that on his cell phone. That's my belief. The police did not have a right to confiscate his phone unless, of course, they believe that it was evidence of a crime that they were investigating. So maybe they could. There's at least an argument. However, they certainly can't keep his phone. And I think it's questionable whether they should have taken it in the first place. I'm sure. I mean, I can come up with some, half-baked, harebrained excuse why they could have taken it. But the truth is they took it because maybe it was showing them in a bad light, and they didn't want that. And that's the real deal. And so the question is, what should he have done? He should not have done anything with those officers because they're going to act as judge and jury, or could anyway, and it could end badly. And we've seen that happen time and time again. So I say he goes to the precinct or district where they are stationed and report it to their captain. Report it to Internal Affairs Division. Bring a complaint. Ask their family's attorney to send a letter. There's several things that can be done. Just don't do it on the street corner. And if you have witnesses who saw them snatch his phone, they should be asked to participate as well. And technically, he could sue the city in small claims court for the cost of his cell phone. And that's another option at that point, is to have brought a claim against the city for $700 or $800 or whatever the cost of his cell phone. So those are some of my thoughts on that, Charles. I hope they comport with what you advised him. 215-227-2727. We've got legal questions coming at us one at a time. Let's talk to Joanne from Feasterville. Janae. Sorry, Janae, on line 4. Good. Hi, Janae.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm alive.
God bless.
So that makes it good.
Yep. So what's your question for me?
Okay, I want to know if I have a harassment case as well as a civil suit. I was let go basically from a caregiver job at the end on payday. They're saying that I stole keys. She's saying that I damaged the house, and all of these are false accusations, and all of these are being held over me until I give this information up before they pay me. She wrote me a check on Friday. We had a verbal discussion because my hours were wrong when they wrote the check. So I asked, could you please just make sure that we're all on the same page before you write me a check? Because now you have to write me another check for the balance owed. So it didn't go over well because they didn't understand me saying, I do the hours. I'm an adult. I only ask that you ask me before you write my check. It didn't go. Everything just got into an argument. They told me to get out. I walked out the door, grabbed my bag, and I left. 45 minutes later, I'm getting calls. I'm getting text threats that I took her keys. If I don't bring back the keys, they're sending the cops to my house. And I didn't give the proper information. They want my Social Security number, my ID, my license number. So I told them, you let me go now. What reason would I relinquish my personal information to you when you just told me to get out of your house? I did what you asked, and now I'm gone. I just asked that you pay me, and you never have to see me again. You never have to call for me. I'm getting text messages, threats that they're sending cops to my house. They're going to lock me up. And with the police brutality going on right now, I'm a black female. I really don't feel comfortable. So I went to the police station and filed a harassment charge. Do I have a leg to stand on by them calling my phone, texting me? And it's been over a week now. And I was told to, if they contact me again, go back to the police and file another report.
Okay, so, all right,
behind.
Janae, let me jump in and answer your questions. I think I have enough information now.
Cool.
All right, harassment, that's a criminal charge. It could be civil harassment, but when you start filing complaints with the police, you're, in essence, saying to them that there's criminal harassment going on, and you're asking the police to bring charges against the party to whom you are claiming harassment. And that's not a decision for you or I to make, but it's a decision for the district attorney of the county in which you've leveled those charges, for them to look at the allegations you've made to make a decision as to whether they're going to file harassment charges. They may not. They may not feel it's enough. That's, again, it's not a clear case, but that's not our decision. You've done what you need to do. You've made the complaint. Now, whether they act on that and actually file charges against these people, that will remain to be seen, but that's not your decision. Next, civil case. You can sue if you're claiming that you're owed hours that you weren't paid. You absolutely can sue them in the district court if it's in the county, for the district court in which they reside, where your job was done. You can sue them in that district court for any hours you claim they still owe you that you worked. Absolutely. And in that process, you may clear your name. You may produce this evidence that you had nothing to do with the keys. You had nothing to do with any of the other allegations they've made against you. But they can fire you. See, that's the thing. We're all at-will employees. And unless you're under contract, unless you have a bargaining unit that, a union that has a collective bargaining agreement, unless you're under one of those limited circumstances, then you're an at-will employee in Pennsylvania. You could be fired for any reason at all, even a bad reason, so long as it's not one of the protected discriminatory reasons. So if you said they fired you because you're a black woman, then you definitely, and if you could prove that, you would definitely have a claim for a wrongful termination. But if they did not fire you and you could not prove they fired you for a discriminatory reason, then they can fire you for any reason, no reason, a bad reason, a false reason. It doesn't matter. So the firing isn't really what this is about. Most likely, This is about getting the hours that you worked. And for that, you could certainly file a small claims complaint or a district justice complaint and get your money that way.
Okay, and I don't need a lawyer for this, correct?
No, I don't think, more importantly, I don't think you'd be able to get a lawyer for this, because it would cost you more to get a lawyer than the hours that you are owed. Mm-hmm. So this is one of those circumstances where you have to kind of go it alone, and the district court and or the small claims municipal court in Philadelphia, they're very good about helping litigants kind of work their way through this process so that they can get justice.
Thank you very much. All
right, Janae, take care, and thanks for listening to Court Radio.
Well. Sure.
215-227-2727. Bernie Sanders and his crew are angry because they were denied a permit to demonstrate in Philadelphia at the time of the convention. And the city said they were denied that permit because they asked to do it in a place that is for recreational purposes only. They don't allow demonstrations in this park that Bernie Sanders' crew wanted to demonstrate. And the city said, there's plenty of time left. Come on back. Make a new application. Just ask for a place that isn't protected for recreational purposes only. I'm surprised we're still hearing from Bernie Sanders and his crew, because he endorsed Hillary Clinton, and not just a mamsy-pamsy endorsement. He gave her a strong endorsement, I thought. For two people who were battling each other up until recently, he really came down and said, if you're not voting for me and I can't be the one you're voting for, you need to vote for her. And so I'm not sure why they're still demonstrating. The demonstration's over. They didn't win, and and their presumptive leader, Bernie Sanders, is supporting the new Democratic nominee. So I don't know. But everybody has a right to demonstrate as long as you get a permit, I guess, in the city of Philadelphia. If more than 2 or 3 people are meeting for some purpose, you need to get a permit, and you got to do it in the right place. So their folks need to figure that out and come back to the city with a new location, and then they can demonstrate. I wonder, are people scared of the upcoming Democratic National Convention? Are you wanting to leave Philadelphia during this period? Do you think it's going to be tough to come to work and get back and forth from the city if you have to work in the city? I think it might be. But we'll see. I mean, the city's been planning this for a long, long time, so We hope that they have some good systems in place to make this run smoothly. But there's going to be all kinds of street closures, and South Broad Street's going to be pretty much closed down from City Hall to the stadiums for periods of time. 215-227-2727. If you've got some comments on that, I'm willing to listen. Let me talk to Rodney from Northeast on line 5, Eric. Rodney, how are you, sir?
Fine, sir. I finally get a chance to get through to you. I
have been looking forward to talking to you for months now. You know, I mean, you've gotten so close and so many times. Now you made the grade, Rodney. You're on the show.
I appreciate it. I had a question about, I have a car accident case, I guess, good one. And I wanted to know the difference between a full tort case, I keep hearing, and a regular tort case. What's the difference in terms, I guess, the payout, or the rumors was that you get to sue the party insurance company. It was a rental car. So you get to sue the insurance company of the rental car people and the person who hit you. Is that true?
Okay, all right. There's so many misconceptions about the meaning of full and limited tort that it's something I could talk about probably every week, and still there would be people out there who are confused about it. I think that insurance companies like that confusion. But in any event, here we go. If you choose limited tort on your policy, you save a few bucks on your premium. How much? It depends, and you need to ask that question to your agent, because you may decide it's not enough money to warrant what I'm about to tell you happens to people who choose limited tort. If you choose limited tort, you have, in essence, said to all the insurance companies in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania who might harm you, their insureds might harm you, you say to them, I promise I'm not going to ask you, the insurance company, or your insured to pay me anything for my pain and suffering unless my injuries are serious. So if you end up having, let's say, let's go with an easy example. You suffer with pain and suffering for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. At the end of that period, you've had therapy, you've been inconvenienced, you've gone to the doctor 3 days a week for 6 months, you've had all these tests, and at the end of this period, your pain is back to normal, you're 0 out of 10, and you have no repercussions from the injury. You clearly don't have a serious injury, and you do not get paid, even though you didn't cause yourself to suffer for 6 months. It was caused by the negligence of another party. That party gets a free ride on your pain and suffering because you didn't suffer a permanent or serious injury, and you chose limited tort.
Wow.
Okay, so you may have a good case, you may not have a good case. You might have a good case from a liability standpoint, like you might be sitting at a traffic light minding your own business when this person who is texting on his phone or her phone slams you in the rear, does all kinds of damage to your car, but doesn't cause you to sustain a serious injury. In that case, you get bupkis, nothing, zero, zilch. Go home, leave us alone. You picked limited tort. That's it. You're done. Now, there are exceptions, Rodney, to this. If the person who hit you is drunk and they're arrested and convicted of drunk driving, even though you chose limited tort, you're automatically deemed full tort against them. How about if the person is not, if they're driving a vehicle not registered in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania? So somebody from Jersey comes across, you know how careless those Jersey drivers are. They come across the bridge and they slam you. Can you sue that person? Absolutely. Can get and be treated like you're full tort? Yes, because they're not from Pennsylvania. But if you're hit by somebody from Pennsylvania, even if that hit happens in Alaska, if the person who's at fault is from Pennsylvania, you've agreed, there's a contract between you and that person that they can act negligent, they can harm you, you're not going to ask them to pay you just so long as they didn't cause you to sustain a serious injury. Does that all make sense now? Do you understand the differences?
Yes, true. And what about the part with it being a rental car? That's automatic full tort?
Are you in a rental? Well, no. Yes. Are you in a rental car?
I was driving a rental car. Yeah.
Okay. So you have to be the owner and operator of a ordinary automobile at the time of the injury. So if you're in a rental car, then you're automatically deemed full tort.
Wow.
All right?
Okay.
So you
sense.
might have skated through on this one, but I got to tell you that the real lesson to be learned from this is you need to ask your agent, how much am I saving by having limited tort? You may find out you're saving maybe $200-300 over the course of a year, and for that you're giving up some really, really, in my opinion, important rights. And so you may decide, heck, I don't care about the $200 or $300. It's not going to make or break me, and I don't want this limited tort anymore.
Yes, because I know I did have limited tort, but my attorney did tell me since I do own my own vehicle and it was being fixed because of a car, because it needed to be fixed, and I had a rental car.
Yeah, you could say it because of a car. You could say it. Hey, Rodney, you could say it because of a car accident. we're not going to think that you got a bullseye on your back or anything like that. Yeah.
You are the best. So that makes a difference in the payouts too, I guess, with tort, right?
Well, if you're limited tort, you've got that extra burden to prove that. And because of that, even if you do kind of arguably have a case that shows you have a serious injury, it's going to push down the value of that case because there's a possibility that you can go to court and not be able to prove it and get nothing. So the insurance company is going to kind of never give a limited tort person what they would give a full tort person. Yeah. Rodney, I got to run. You had a great question, sir. Thanks for calling. Hey, Rodney, stay on the line. I'm going to have Monica get your address. You're getting a Court Radio T-shirt today for your good question.
Oh, thank you.
All right, hold on. Okay, folks, we'll be back in 2 minutes after these sponsored announcements.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's more Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome back. I'm Dean Weitzman, and because of that, you know this is Court Radio. All you got to do is give us a call at 215-227-2727, where I will endeavor to answer your legal question. It is Sunday, July the 17th. Humidity has dropped. It is warm out, but it will be a beautiful day. And we wish all the bicyclists on their way to the shore to have a safe trip and to raise a lot of money for some good causes. 215-227-2727. We're talking about Turkey and their near coup, which didn't happen, about mixing religion with government laws, whether that's ever a good idea, and why we continue to elect people who really have religion as their platform. To me, it should be a no-brainer. Our country was founded on really keeping a separation of church and state, any church with my state. And it seems like forever people are trying to erode that wall of separation. And I just don't understand why. Nobody's stopping you from practicing your religion any way you want in your home and in your church. Why do we need to make it a part of the government? Why do we need to make laws that favor one religion over another? It makes no sense to me. It's the beauty of America. 215-227-2727. Do you have an opinion on that? Meanwhile, let's talk to Steve on line 3, Eric, from Lancaster County. Hey, Steve, welcome to Court Radio.
Yes, how you doing?
I'm well, thanks.
That's good.
You have
I just had a question about workman's comp. I work for a firm, a sprinkler outfit in Lancaster, and I worked there for 37 years, and constantly working up and down ladders and lifting heavy pipe and stuff like that. And on two occasions, I had a serious accident back in '86 with a company truck, and then in 2000, I fell off a roof working for the company. And anyway, what I'm getting at, finally, my knees, I had to go to the doctors about my knees, and they said that my knees are like, they're shot, they're bone to bone. And workman's comp, they basically like turned me down, so like they wasn't going to pay for it, I would have to pay for my knees to get, worked on. They said it was like, wasn't workman's comp related.
Okay. So your question, I take it, is do you have a comp case and how do you go about getting it together?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
Well, the first thing you need to do is give us a call during the week at 215-227-2727. We will have an attorney who works with us on workers' comp cases, Jeff Gross, give you a call back immediately. In fact, Jeff gives his cell phone out to all his clients so that you can call him whenever you want. And Jeff's an expert and a specialist in workers' compensation. There clearly, if you can show a connection between your repetitive tasks at work, climbing ladders, hauling things, carrying things, and and or falling or having injuries, if you can show that over a period of time that is what caused your knee problems, then it is work-related. And if it prevents you from doing your job now, it's clearly a workers' comp case that you should be compensated for. A lot of that, what I just said, would require a doctor's opinion. That, the doctor listens to what you did at work, the injuries you previously had at work, and the tasks you must do at work in order to do your job. And if that doctor can render the opinion that played a significant part in causing your current condition. I mean, butchers all the time, they don't have an injury, but they from hacking meat all day long, they get carpal tunnel syndrome in their wrists. And so there is clearly a connection between repetitive tasks that we have to do as employees and long-term injuries. It's not something new. You're not cutting new ground here. And so what I would say is you need a doctor's opinion, but first and foremost, you need an attorney to put forth your claim because they've denied you. They've said, no, we're not going to handle this the right way like, they should. They're going to make you fight for this. And you can do that, but you need an attorney to help you with that.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Then you said you can help me then, huh?
Yep. Just give us a call during the week at the same number you called Court Radio today, and you'll be talking to an attorney in minutes.
All right. I appreciate your help.
All right. Take care, and we look forward to your call.
Thank you. Have a blessed day.
You too.
Bye.
See, folks, it's easy. 215-227-2727. That's the number for all of Philadelphia and all the counties and all the other states around us. You just have to give us a call, and we'll take care of it. And if we can't take care of it, we'll make sure that you're in the hands of somebody who can, I guess, is the bottom line. So it's really a one-stop shop because we care about you. All right, let's talk to Melissa from Jenkintown on line 4. Hi, Melissa, and welcome to Core Radio.
Hello. I'm sorry, my question has nothing to do with the topic, but my husband is a vet, and when he was about to go overseas, he got a letter statement from the Philadelphia saying he owed it welfare custody, not custody,
child support
money for 2 kids that were his.
Mm-hmm.
Long story short, I think it was 5 years later after he came back from overseas because they automatically took the money out with him not even being here or anything. When we were told by welfare and the state of Pennsylvania that they would not touch it since he was about to go overseas. Now, this is right before, this was right after 9/11 happened when they went over to Iraq. He called and they told him that don't worry, nothing would be taken out. They started taking it out. 5 years later, I think it was, when he came back and we came back to Philadelphia, he did the blood work. Come to find out, the two girls that accused him of having his kids, they weren't his kids. And he had a free lawyer at the time, and the free lawyer told him he wasn't going to help him get the reimbursement back for all the money they took. So he just said, forget about it, but now someone's trying to tell him that he should try to go after it. Can he still go after it?
The answer is it may be too late. You're talking about 15 years ago? You said it happened right around 9/11.
Right.
Yeah, the statute of limitations is probably long gone on that claim.
But yet he went and got the blood work done and got it settled, I want to say, in 2009.
It's still 7 years ago. And I don't believe there would be a claim that would still survive the statute of limitations that's 7 years. The attorney who was representing him at that time, gave him the right advice, and that is, since that was sounds like it was a court-appointed representation, his job was to defeat the paternity at that time, but not to go after the monies previously paid. Your husband would have had to have.
They told him he couldn't do that because it was a free lawyer. That's why they wouldn't go after the reimbursement. Right.
What I'm saying is that lawyer sole job was to defeat the paternity, to say, hey, I'm not the father of this child and I shouldn't be paying, and that they did that part. But the prior expenses that your husband paid out needed to be pursued by an attorney he picked, but he would have had to have paid for that attorney. And it may have cost several thousands of dollars. And so I don't know if he was in a position to have done that at that time or not. But the bottom line is now, 7-8 years later, I would say that the claim is lost to the statute of limitations. Because sometimes a valid claim, like, whatever it is, medical malpractice or an automobile accident, if you don't pursue it within the time limits that the state imposes by law, then even though you may have a legitimate claim, it's lost because of an expired statute of limitations.
Even though half the time he wasn't in this country, and he was overseas?
Yeah, that would have been a great answer 7 years ago when he came back finally and handled his business. So there are times, you're absolutely right, there are times when the statute of limitations is extended for those types of reasons. He didn't get served properly, the papers. He was in active duty at the time. That all extends the statute of limitations. But here you've said he came back 7 years ago. He dealt with this problem through the courts. He therefore had an opportunity to have raised that then and maybe gone back more time than the statute would have allowed because of the very reasons you raise. But now, 7 years after he's been home, no, that's not going to work.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're very welcome. 215-227-2727. Statute of limitations brings up a great point. My firm and I are now handling the talcum powder cases. And so you may have seen some My Philly Lawyer advertisements on TV recently, and we've gotten a lot of calls. And people, let's say sons or fathers or husbands, are calling about the death of their wife or mom maybe a decade ago. And they say, listen, she used talcum powder every day for 30 years, and she died of ovarian cancer. Can we bring a claim? And the answer is yes. Why can they bring a claim that might be 10 years old? Because they didn't know that talcum powder was the link between ovarian cancer and their mother's death until recently, when it became a part of the common, current events and the news, and it's been brought to their attention. So once that happens, now they've discovered that there's a connection, and the courts will recognize that late discovery, and they'll extend the statute of limitations for 2 years from when you knew or should have known there was a cause of action, a connection between some action on Johnson & Johnson's part, i.e. manufacturing talcum powder, and your mother's or wife's death. So, statute of limitations is a tricky thing that needs to be analyzed by an attorney. It's not always clear when you are, out of statute and when you're in statute. But consulting with an attorney will help you kind of work your way through that. And there is something in Pennsylvania called the discovery rule, which tolls the statute, stops it, until you know or should know that some behavior by a defendant is the cause of your injury. And in this case, with the talcum powder, it really is that first trial that started to get some traction and got, into the kind of common news. That first trial, it was most people's first indication that talcum powder is connected with ovarian cancer. And you know why? Because Johnson & Johnson hid that from us. They hid that stuff from us. They knew it. They had put that together years ago. But instead of coming forth and saying, hey, there is a uptick in ovarian cancer, you may want to think about it before you use this product, they just kept producing it, and they kept selling it, and they hid that from people. And that's what the evidence has shown at trial. And that's why companies like Johnson & Johnson get hit so hard. You say to yourself, why are they getting hit for $72 million for the death of this person? And the answer is because a lot of that's punitive damages, because they knew that there was a connection, and they chose to hide that amongst themselves and not to share that with us, the public. And, if we haven't seen that once, we've seen it 100 times, where corporate America, for greedy purposes, holds back evidence and information that might, cost them a few dollars. And in doing that, they put our lives at risk. And that's why they get hit so hard. Maybe to teach them a lesson that it doesn't pay to hold back information from us. We'll see. In any event, folks, as often is the case, we're running fast on time, but keep the calls coming. We're gonna try to get to everybody, but we'll be back in 2 minutes after these sponsored announcements.
The following is a paid program brought to you by My Philly Lawyer. The views and opinions expressed are those of the sponsor and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of the station and its management.
Need more legal answers? Here's More Court Radio with your host, Dean Weitzman.
Good morning and welcome back. It's Court Radio, and I'm Dean Weitzman, and it's still Sunday, July 17th, and it's still a beautiful day out in Philly. So once Court Radio's over, you're free to leave and go out and enjoy the day. 215-227-2727. If you don't get through today, there's always next Sunday. And if you really want to talk to somebody, all you got to do is give us a call during the week. At that same number, you get my team at My Philly Lawyer, and we'll endeavor to bring you in and get you set up with representation. In the meantime, let's tackle some more legal questions while we've got the time. Tracy from Northeast Philly, Eric on line 3. Oh, Tracy.
Hello.
Good morning, Tracy.
Good morning.
How are you today?
Great day to be alive.
Where are you in the Northeast?
Like the Mayfair section.
Okay, I know it well. All right, so what's your legal question today for me?
Okay, my legal question for you today is I want to know if I could take any legal action towards a law firm to handle a slip and fall case of mine. They were having a hard time catching up with the lady that owned the property, and she was finally caught up with. She was served. She never showed up for any of the court appearances or any of the arbitrations or anything. And finally, a panel of judges got, tired of her, not showing and keep postponing, and they finally awarded me $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
This was last year.
Okay, so what's the part where the attorneys did something wrong? Go ahead.
Okay, now first of all, the question was put to me, why didn't they file anything with the insurance company of the store? Because at the time, the lady had insurance on the store.
Okay.
So finally, she took everything out of her name, and they were having, like I said, they were having a hard time catching up with her, and she was finally tracked down through detective work or whatever, and she was served. Like I said, she never showed up for anything, so the panel of judges awarded me $20,000. Now this law firm is telling me that they're no longer going to pursue it because I imposed the question of why wasn't anything, filed with this insurance company, or why wasn't anything put in position, for if anything was awarded, I would be able to collect.
Okay, so let me
the injuries I served.
Tracy, let me answer your question. I got enough info. Okay?
Yes.
All right, here we go. So if a law firm representing you does something wrong which costs you money, then you definitely have the potential for a legal malpractice claim as a result of that representation. So there's two things that have to happen. One, they have to have engaged in representing you in a negligent fashion. So either they didn't do something they should have done, or they did it wrong, and that cost you money. Now, sometimes attorneys do things that are wrong, but the outcome doesn't change. Now, you've said that she had insurance. If she had insurance on the date of your accident and she was sued and you got a judgment, then that insurance company would be paying that judgment, okay? The insurance company has either denied the claim for some reason, and that happens sometimes. Like, for instance, from the motor vehicle standpoint, sometimes I represent somebody against a driver of a car, and the driver doesn't have a valid driver's license. There's a clause in the insurance policy that says if you drive the car without a valid driver's license, we're not going to provide coverage. So legally, technically, there was coverage on the date of accident, but because of this exception, they kind of take a free pass. And so I don't know if there is some exclusion in the policy which would have prevented the insurance company or enabled the insurance company to deny this claim. But if there's valid insurance and no basis for disclaiming coverage, then you're already a winner. You have a judgment, and the insurance company should be paying it. I don't know that the law, and by the way, that you can collect that judgment against the insurance company if they have a valid policy on the date of loss. You can collect it now. And so that even if you're claiming, listen, I was abandoned by this law firm, or the law firm didn't go after the insurance company the way I think they should have, it's not too late. You can still go after that insurance company, and you should take your judgment and all of the information about your case and bring it to a new law firm. Let them take a look at this, and maybe they'll be able to resurrect it. I suspect, however, and just kind of, if this law firm put all this time and effort into getting you a judgment, they want to see it collected as well, because if they don't collect it, they're not getting paid. And so I got a feeling that there's some valid basis upon which they believe.
Gave me none. They said that what they did is they personally went after this lady. She was renting the store. Listen. She was renting the store to someone else.
Okay, but let me tell. let me tell you, Tracy, let me tell you one thing. When I sue somebody who's at fault, let's say Eric, okay, Eric is driving behind me and crashes into me. I sue Eric. I don't sue Eric and State Farm, his insurance company. I only sue Eric. You never have a claim, or hardly ever, would you have a claim against the person's insurance company directly. It's not the way it works. You sue the party who caused you the harm. That may be the individual. It may be her company. But we're all out of time, Tracy. You're the last caller for today. I'm sorry we couldn't get to other callers. We'll be back on the line next Sunday. Same time, same place.